For the latest film interviews, reviews, and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now.
Disney Hotstar's latest original series is a period epic from creator Nikkhil Advani. Based on the Empire of the Mughal historical fiction book series, the 8-episode show follows the reign and life of King Babur, played by Kunal Kapoor. The show in many ways feels like 3 seasons combined in one, as it covers 3 different chapters of his life. The first 2 episodes, which for me were the strongest, sets up a great premise. A young Prince Babur is forced to take the throne after his father passes away, and it's left to him to protect his family and kingdom. The next chapter highlights his ongoing war with his ruthless enemy Shaibani Khan, played by Dino Morea, with the final one focusing on an older Babur now with 2 sons and the first battle of Panipat. In terms of what it's going for, the Empire is trying to be Sanjay Leela Bhansali in the streets and Game of Thrones in the sheets. The extent of the influence of those projects in almost every aspect of the show, right down to specific scenes, characters and arcs, deserves its own dedicated discussion. And I'm completely okay with that inspiration. We deserve our very own pulpy period epic saga, as long as it's rooted in a story and characters that really absorb you, something that this show only really achieves in fits and starts. The show is also co-written and directed by Mitakshara Kumar, who previously worked on Bajirao Mastani and Padmavat. But there is a lot that the Empire gets right, particularly in terms of its scale and setting. It's massively mounted with all the rich detailing and lavish sets and costumes a story like this deserves. And you can't help but admire the sheer ambition on display. But scale alone is futile and hollow without compelling storytelling that knows what to do with it. The series, written by Bhavani Iyer and Mitakshara Kumar, works best when it focuses on its power-grabbing plot over its unremarkable characters. In the more enjoyable earlier episodes, the focus is on bloodshed, backstabbing, twists and turns until it shifts to become more of a character study of Babur, who it takes far too seriously. It also doesn't help that despite the fitting physicality he brings to the role, Kunal Kapoor feels miscast as the complex ruler and just doesn't have the necessary dramatic heft to carry a show like this. If anything, I found the teenage Babur played by Mehruz Mir and his arc to be far more compelling. The show takes place over several decades, and the time jumps are far from smooth and just plain disorienting. It's also impressive just how little the show seems to care about aging its characters. In the 3rd episode, there's a time jump, so a teenage Babur is now played by Kunal Kapoor. But apart from him, almost everyone around him looks exactly the same. Late in the series, it jumps 20 years, and again, nobody has aged, to the extent that his now grown-up sons look the same age as their mothers. It's also not the easiest thing to follow. Characters just seem to pop out of one kingdom and appear in another, and you're just constantly trying to get a sense of place. In terms of the performances, while the show is certainly not going to take home any prizes for great ensemble, I really did enjoy Dino Morea's campy, unpredictable and strangely endearing turn as the clearly Khilji-like Shaibani Khan. Elsewhere, the action and CGI range from shoddy to serviceable. I did find it interesting though that the show seemed to have no issue with explicit violence, but there was no bad language or intimate scenes. We literally see eyes being stabbed, tongues being ripped out and skulls being crushed, but it seems too worried to show any sort of intimacy. There are moments and portions of the Empire in which I was thoroughly and entirely engrossed, and I saw promise of what this could have been. I just wish that held true throughout. You can watch The Empire on Disney Hotstar. For more reviews like this of the latest shows and movies, subscribe to Film Companion.